right, hello, welcome to episode 9 of Gearing Up. I am Greg, and we're doing something a little bit different this morning, today, whenever you're listening to this. Typically April is my co-host, but she is out on a girls' date night. So I have our very first guest host, and that would be none other than my mom. Say hello.
Hello.
Hi. Okay.
Hi.
So this is probably very weird for her. She's never done anything like this. I didn't give her any prep on notes or anything like that. So she's just along for the ride.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
I'm in the dark.
It's okay. We've got our alcoholic beverages. Foster's asleep. April is out and about. And hopefully this will be kind of interesting. I didn't have a specific topic, but I knew I wanted you to be on the podcast just to chat. You're in town, so let's talk about that first. So you are in town for how long?
About 3 weeks, a little over 3 weeks. And
Yes.
I've already been here almost a week.
Yeah, so we're knee deep into the trip. For those that don't know, my mom lives a couple hours away. She lives near San Antonio, and she is here for the month of November. My in-laws typically watch Foster during the day. We're very blessed to have them do that, but they need a break every now and then. So usually once a year they will go on a vacation for a couple weeks. They've got a big trailer and they'll travel around and do whatever. And we'll take off, or my mom will come over, or a little combination of both, and we'll watch him during that time. So that's this time of year. So she's here, and it also happens to be around Thanksgiving, so we're going to get to celebrate Thanksgiving together as well. So I'm really excited.
Me too.
Yeah. So that's why you're here. That's why we're doing this. I want to start off. Tell me about you. What are your hobbies? What do you like to do?
Well, I like to sew.
Uh-huh.
I like to crochet.
Mm-hmm.
I like to read.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we're in the process of doing some remodeling at the house, and so
Yeah, that's kept you busy.
I've become the DIYer at my house.
She's like 2 weeks away from having HGTV show up with a camera crew. I get snaps all the time about her progress, and it looks awesome. So
yeah.
That's fair. I would say that all of those do describe your hobbies. As far as sewing, that's the big one. For those of you that don't know or have not seen the series on the blog, I do the Maker series on gtdone.com, and you were actually featured on there. You were Maker number 4.
Yeah, I was going to say 5, but yeah, 4.
Yeah, you were Maker number 4, Stanford Threads. I did a little overview of how you've helped me with my everyday carry obsession, and God, you've been here less than a week and I've already gotten 3 handkerchiefs. So it kills to have someone that's got those kind of skills. So I appreciate that. A little bit more about you for anybody that cares. You have 2 sons. I'm the youngest of 2.
Yes, and I have an older son that lives in Dallas.
Yes, that's Mr. Christopher. You have 2 grandbabies, Foster.
Mr. Foster.
Yes.
And Eleanor.
Little Eleanor. You worked in banking for over 20 years.
I did.
You are now retired, with air quotes.
Yeah. I would say that, yep. I'm just a house person. Not a housewife, not married. Homemaker, yeah.
Homemaker, yeah.
I guess you could say that.
And you have a puppy?
I do, Maxwell.
Yes, he's a little stinker, but we like him.
Yep.
Okay, so that's a little bit about you. I did want to put you on the spot, and I wanted to ask you, what do you think people should know about me?
That you're very loving, very imaginative. And
that's a nice word for weird, but that's okay.
No, I don't think of it as weird. You have a a vivid mind, and
Gets me in trouble sometimes, but yes.
yeah, it probably has in the past too.
Yeah.
But you would do anything for just about anybody that was a friend, probably even some that aren't friends if they needed help. I don't know. You're just my lovey-dovey Greg.
Yeah, I'm a goofball. Would you say that I've always liked talking and sharing with others?
Yes.
Like in this, not necessarily literally in this respect, but you would say that I've always kind of had a knack for talking and sharing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Most definitely.
What is a favorite memory, or two, if you can't think of just one? Get with like the first thing that comes to mind that you have of me or us.
I have two.
Okay, what's the first one?
The first one is I wouldn't let you drive or mow the yard with a riding lawnmower until you were at least 10 or 11. And Chris,
which to some people that's like you're gonna let a 10-year-old ride a riding mower.
But your brother did it like at, I don't know, I think 7, maybe 8. I don't remember.
That to me, like having a kid now, that just sounds nuts.
Okay, maybe it is.
But okay, so just to clarify, we lived out in the middle of nowhere, had a big wide open yard, and no neighbors.
And no trees.
So
per se. I mean, we had 2 or 3 trees, but my biggest fear was, as wild and crazy as you were, that you were going to drive the riding lawnmower into the lake, because we had a lake in the backyard. So that was always why I wouldn't let you get on the riding lawnmower until you got older.
No lie, I almost fell into the lake on the riding lawnmower one time. I got kind of close, but it wasn't like out of craziness. I was just trying to mow and got a little close to the edge there. Interesting. I realized that was it. I thought it was
okay.
What's the next one?
And the other one is when you started kindergarten.
Oh my God.
And you went to school, and I was afraid to send you because you were kind of like hell on wheels.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. You were a little rambunctious little boy and very inquisitive, and so I sent you to school because that's what you have to do,
right?
And they did this system of good bears, bad bears, colors. I remember. Whatever.
Blue bear was no, green bear was good. Yellow bear was not so good. Maybe it was blue bear next.
And then red was
and
worse,
the red was like the bad one, yeah.
But anyway, at the end of the week, if you had all good bears, you got to get a prize. And the first week you came home and you said, I got to get a prize. Yeah. And I was like shocked.
Wow.
But that was Friday, and on Sunday evening we were heading out the door to go to your mama's. Oh my God,
I so remember this.
And the phone rang, so I stopped and I went and answered it.
God, why couldn't we have just gone?
Yeah, 2 or 3 seconds later and we wouldn't have gotten it.
Damn you, Mrs. Everett.
I answered the phone, and yes, it was Mrs. Everett, his first grade teacher. Kindergarten teacher. Yeah. And she says, Mrs. Dunn? And I said, yes. And she said, this is Mrs. Everett. And I just want to let you know that Greg screamed at me in class. And
oh my God,
I'm
horrible.
Like shocked because you got a prize at the end of the week. And
I remember what the prize was too. It was either pasta or Fruit Loop necklace. I think it was like a pasta necklace.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't remember
everybody made that as the craft, and I didn't get to make it.
Oh.
And I had to fake like I did. I left it at school,
Okay, so
I remember this.
So she says, you need to get control on him, and you need to punish him for, screaming at me. And I told Miss Everett, I said, Miss Everett, he will get in trouble here at home for screaming at you. But you're the teacher, and you're the one that has to take control of Greg. Not me, you.
Yeah.
And so
Oh God,
We got
I
off
can't
the
wait
phone.
for those phone calls.
Yeah.
They're gonna happen.
And then, you didn't, after that thing, I didn't have any more phone calls from Miss Everett. You didn't get the good bear, the green bear, like all the time.
I was much.
But
more.
you had at least 4 out of 5 during the week. And
good.
you actually became the teacher's pet.
Yeah.
And I think it was just because
changed.
you were, I'll just put it out there. Yeah, you're my kid, and I'm going to say it anyway. But you were smarter than everybody else. I mean, you did graduate second in your class.
I think I'm clever. I wouldn't say that I'm smarter than everyone else. But...
Well, in kindergarten, they were teaching colors, how to write your name, and how to use scissors. And you knew that from probably the age of 3.5.
Oh my God.
So you were bored, number one. So you were
that
ahead.
Happens now I act up when I'm bored now too.
So
interesting.
Yeah, that's 2 of
those are really funny stories.
Yeah,
I like this. That's really good. Okay, cool. So do you listen to the podcast?
I do.
You do. And it's weird. This podcast, most of the time we talk about everyday carry and knives and gear and stuff you may not necessarily care about. But what do you look forward to with the podcast? Like, what do you look forward to listening for in the podcast?
Okay.
Or why do you like it?
I like it because I'm learning stuff, and I can't specifically point out what I'm learning, but I'm learning stuff about you in April that I didn't really know.
Yeah. It's there's definitely a level of therapy or kind of just a level of like you don't care as much and you just start talking and you get a conversation going.
And not that I don't know YouTube, but there are things that I of course wasn't there for in your life when you were off at school or when you were when you got married and stuff like that. So I'm learning stuff about the two of you that I don't necessarily learn when I come to visit.
Sure.
Because it's not something that we sit down and necessarily talk about.
That's fair. Okay. Why do you think people should listen?
Because it's very interesting and even if you don't have everyday carry, I don't want to really use the word comical, entertaining.
April is I will tell you, when I wanted to do this, I thought I can definitely get her into the first episode. Like, she will sit down and she will do this once. And I was pretty sure that's all she'd do. And, God willing, she has sat down with me every week for like 2 months now. And we've done this. It's not always on time and it's not always a great episode, but we've enjoyed doing it. It's fun. It's fun. We just get to...
I think they've been real interesting. Like I said, even the stuff about the everyday carry or anything else that you've done, that stuff still is interesting. I'm learning a little bit. I tried to answer the questions that you asked April a couple of episodes ago.
That was a popular episode.
Yeah, I'm going to honestly say... I think I knew one answer, and I couldn't tell you what that one answer was. No, I don't think it was carabiner, because that doesn't sound familiar. But anyway, there was one thing that I thought I could have answered. Maybe I did, but don't really remember. But the rest, I was out in left field.
That's half the fun. She kept trying to she would guess, well, am I close? I'm like, that's not the point. The point is to just goof off and have fun. Okay. Couple more questions. What's it like seeing your youngest all grown up with a family and on his own?
It's amazing.
Is it weird? Does it make you feel old?
No, it doesn't make me feel old.
Good.
I didn't even feel old today when I went shopping with Foster. I didn't feel like an old grandma. Because I'm not a grandma. I'm a nanny.
I mean, yeah, but you're not an old
And I'm
grandma.
not old, so yes. It makes me feel proud.
Good.
Because I see things that I know I instilled in you when you were little. And that makes me feel good.
Good.
It makes me proud.
Oh, yeah.
So,
speaking of pride, what would you say you're most proud of with regards to me, you don't know, you've got another son, but what are you most proud of with Gregory?
Probably the fact that when you went off to college, I thought you would enjoy it / do wonderful. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it was the right place, the right time,
right,
the right whatever for you.
I would agree with all
So
that.
for 2 years, you kind of more or less goofed off.
Yeah,
I mean, you did go to school, but I don't really know. In fact, I think I learned a little bit about that. You didn't go to classes like you should have. I think I learned that in one of the podcasts.
Yeah, attendance wasn't mandatory,
but
so there's that.
What I'm probably the proudest of, or what was the question again?
What are you most proud of?
Yeah, was the fact that you took a year off.
Uh-huh.
You asked me, and I said, well, I'm not going to tell your dad you're not going back to school because we're no longer married.
Yeah.
And
I think I had to have that conversation. It was fine.
I think you postponed that for a while.
Probably.
Like 2 or 3 months.
Yeah,
I want to say it was October,
November, and he's like, "How are classes going?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not taking."
Yeah,
I'm not joking. I really do think it was like, "Well, how are classes going?" And I was like, "Oh, they're not. I'm not going to classes this semester."
And I remember telling you had
it breezed over very quickly.
2 choices. Nice. You had to either get a job and go to work full time and support yourself because I was living with your uncle and aunt. Or you had to move back in with your dad.
Yeah.
And I, not to be negative about any of that.
Yeah.
Your dad or anything, but your choice, your responsibility. If you're not going to go to school, I'm not going to support you.
Yeah, no. And I got a full-time job. It was a very it was very right place, right time, and looking, hindsight being 2020, it was the right thing to do at the time.
Right. So back to what I'm proud is you did get a full-time job. You proposed to April. You started back to school. You got married. And you still worked full-time and finished college.
Yeah.
And that made me very proud.
Yeah. I mean, I don't want all this student debt and not have a degree. Right. That would suck.
Right. So that is one of the things
That's good.
I would say was one of the, that and just becoming a husband and father, but that's a natural, proud thing.
That's good.
The other story is something that you had to work out that made me proud.
What's that? What do you mean?
Going back to school.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was... of course, it was not in the plan. I said this in an episode once. I don't ever think that there was that conversation of like, what do you want to do? What do you not that you or dad didn't. You supported whatever I wanted to do growing up, but it was almost like when it came time to graduate and go to college and do all this, there was never this like, are you sure this is right for you? And I don't fault you or dad for that. I think it was just kind of the relationship that we had.
Yeah.
And I was always kind of sure of myself in that.
Right.
I felt like I knew what I was doing was what I wanted to do, and so there might not have really been any reason for that talk.
The one thought or thing that I slightly remember is, at one point, you didn't sound like you really knew what you wanted to do, except that you wanted to go to UT.
Right.
And part of me said that was because Chris went.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to tell you couldn't go.
Right.
Because that's not fair.
Right.
But I remember one thing when you said you still couldn't decide exactly what you wanted to do. You said something about being a school teacher.
Yeah.
And being a band director or music or whatever. Yes, you did. Yeah, you did. No. And I did come back with, if you're going to be a school teacher, then you need to rethink schools, because UT's pretty expensive just to become a school teacher.
Yeah.
And that maybe you need to go to Sam Houston, because that's where
They have a
a
great
lot of
education
people
program.
go
Yeah,
for
yeah.
education programs. That's probably the only thing I remember about your decision / want to go to school.
Yeah.
We
and I
didn't.
think-
We didn't really discuss it, and then all of a sudden you came back and said, "Oh no, I'm going to go to UT and I'm going to become an accountant."
Well, and my thought
business
was,
degree like Chris.
Well, my thought was, okay, the money's going to be good. I mean, if you have a business degree from UT and you're there and you meet the right people, like, the money's good, and getting a job's not super difficult. But I think I didn't really understand what I was getting into. School had always been pretty easy, and so then when it came time to sit in a calculus class of 600 people, having no clue what I was doing, hadn't been in a math class since junior year of high school. It was a wake up call. It was a reality check. But I think that's going to help me. That helped me in making my decisions for when I ended up going back to school, and I think that'll help me making decisions for Foster and the rest of our kids when we have them. And again, it wasn't necessarily the plan, but it worked out.
Well, yeah, when you come from a small town, small school, when you go to a big college, it's
a culture shock for sure.
Eye opener. I didn't go to college right after high school. Well, I took like 2 classes at the junior college, and then I didn't go back to college until I was in my late 30s.
Yeah.
/ early 40s. Took me 6 years to do a 2-year degree.
Yeah, but you were working with 40, 50 hours a week.
Right.
And
but
2 kids in school.
The school that I went to get
and...
that was also a community college. Very small classes.
Yeah.
Very easy. You could do one-on-one with a teacher.
Yeah.
And then when I moved to San Antonio, I did go and take a few classes at UTSA, and I did have a class like you're talking about with, I think my class had 300 to 400 people.
Yeah.
And I ended up dropping it because it just,
April did the same thing.
You couldn't get into the class.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah, I do understand that. Yeah. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, okay. This has been insightful for me too. That was interesting. For those that maybe don't care and have stuck around, I posted on my Instagram today to just field some questions if you guys had any, and I answered a couple of them, but I saved a couple of them to talk about here. So just wanted to run through those real quick, and then we'll close it up. This will be a shorter episode. So just starting at the bottom. Machines Within says most underrated or overrated and underrated piece of everyday carry gear. So you probably won't have a lot of input on this one, but
no,
I will
don't
say
think so.
I was thinking about this earlier, and overrated for me. I can't think of the only thing that comes to mind, and this is going to piss a lot of people off, is the Paramilitary 2. I've had 2 or 3 of them. And I just can't. I mean, they're incredibly well-made knives. I get why people like them. Ergonomics and size, they're just not for me. So, I mean, I think that's an opinionated thing, but it's, overrated, underrated is definitely going to be personal preference. Most underrated, a pry bar, for sure. I have found so many uses for a pry that it's ridiculous. I always have one with me. Whether it's my cap lifter that I use for a pry, or my OZ Machine Co., my new one, the teal and brass one that I've posted a million times lately because I love it. But I really do think like a pry bar is underrated. Okay, next question. Vicky Mayo asks, when will Foster be a big brother?
Nani wants to know too.
Yeah, it's not a good question to ask when April's not on the podcast. Not yet. At some point, yes, but I don't know specifics yet, so we'll just have to see. Franco asks, you're stranded on an island. What what 3 tools and 1 knife do you want with you? And then he came back and said, okay, a knife is a tool too, but you know what I meant. I was thinking about this after I read that, and I was like, well, I would want a really good knife. I would probably say like my nickel fixed blade. It's got a good hefty blade stock. It's not going to break on me, and it's razor sharp. I would also have to say a Bic lighter, because those never go out, and they're very reliable. And then maybe like a stainless pot or pan.
Okay, that's not an everyday carry.
No, but he said tools.
So
So
I'm going to throw in here.
Okay, go ahead.
It's not the smartest items to pick, but I think he said 3 items besides the knife.
Yeah, he did.
Are tools.
He said 3 tools.
I probably would, thinking of you and thinking of myself, I would probably say a pen, a hanky, and one of your little notebooks. Because you can always use the hanky, like you told me, for more than blowing your nose.
Oh, absolutely. A handkerchief is fantastic. You could use it as a sunshade, washcloth.
Yeah, whatever.
There's
and then
tons of uses.
The pen and paper, sure, they're not the most, if you're stranded, they're not the most useful things.
Yeah.
But, you can write your thoughts. You can doodle.
I think I'd be more focused on eating.
Yeah, you probably would.
But, I see where you're going.
But that was my first thought.
If I were stranded on an island for like 12 hours and knew that I was going to be rescued with, food and shelter at some point, then yeah. My first thought is, what did Tom Hanks do? He had fire. He had the volleyball. Maybe I'd want a friend instead of a pot.
Well, see, the pen and the paper.
That's true. I could draw a friend.
Yeah, or you could make an airplane, or,
Okay.
You could make a ball out of the paper. You could wad it up. So, see?
But what if I had to use my paper for kindling and eventually it's all burnt up?
Then
but
you're
at least
not very resourceful if you have to do that.
That's true. Good call. Okay, so Chris Hinkleman, what's your favorite deployment method on a folder, flipper, thumb stud, etc.? Probably a Spidey hole. I love my Delica and the hole that it's got. I just like Spidey flicking. But I only have one. Everything else I have is a thumb stud, so I'd probably say thumb stud to be fair. And then he also asked, what's your favorite locking method? Frame lock, button lock. We definitely say frame lock, but the axis lock. Are we
talking about knife locks?
We're talking about knives, yes.
Okay.
Knife locks. The axis lock on my bug out, that's super fun to play with too. Not play with, that's super fun to engage and disengage. We don't play with knives, folks. Favorite food, I answered, that's cheesecake, no question. Somebody asked, how do you feel about superconductor and mokutai? And I said I love them both. Do you know what either of those are?
No.
They're materials, and I don't have anything on me right now. And then the last question before we close up, how many knives is a healthy amount? How many knives healthy amount? I would say it kind of depends on how particular you are. That's an unfair question. People at work think that I have 100 knives, and that couldn't be further from the truth. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have maybe 8.
Yeah, I would think no more than 10.
Yeah, I think the longer you spend in this hobby, you find that quality over quantity is always good. So I think you just find, I have a really nice knife. My Chris Reeve Sabenza is my nice knife. I do carry it. I do use it. It doesn't look brand new, but that's my good knife. When I know that I'm going to be breaking down packages or opening boxes or whatever, my Spyderco Delica is my go-to. Almost always carry a small fixed blade, whether it's my tactical pterodactyl AmSam or my nickel blade. It's not incredibly small, but it is smaller. I don't know. I would maybe 10. That's fair, I think. I think 10 is like, you could have 10 and that not be a ludicrous amount of knives. But again, that's, Oh, hey, we just got a question, like just now. Somebody just asked. Dapper Dad says, what would be your grail knife if you had unlimited funds? Well, if I had unlimited funds, I'd buy something ridiculous, like a Rad Knives field cleaver, for like 15 grand or whatever the heck they're auctioning for now. And I would carry it and I would use it every day. Does that shock you that there are knives that cost that much?
Yeah.
Yeah. Rad Knives is pretty dope.
Because I thought we had this discussion the other night with April on how much you would spend, but you did say if you had unlimited funds.
If I had unlimited funds. Yeah. I mean, right now, that's like a $15,000 knife.
Oh, that's why he has black gloves on.
Yeah, because he don't want to touch it. You get fingerprints all over.
Yeah.
No, but like right now, I've been into more traditional slip joints. I would say a Pena Barlow would be what I'd go after. Saw one on sale for like $800. Actually, yeah, that's the one I asked you about, because I asked you guys like last night, like, is $800 a crazy amount for a knife?
Yeah, I can't remember what April said.
April said $200.
Yeah, I might go to $500.
I look at it like anything else. I mean, for me, I think spending $1,000 on a purse is crazy, but
yeah, well, your mom, she would never do that.
Yeah.
The only way she would carry $1,000 purse is if she found it at a thrift store or somebody willed it to her.
Oh, that's funny. What if I handed you $1,000 and said you can only buy a purse with it? Would you be mad?
Yeah, I would be really pissed. Because I think the most I could spend would be about $200.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, everybody's got their things.
No. I'm the bargain shopper and all that. I should have added that to one of my...
Your hobbies? I definitely got that from you, too. I like to thrift.
Repurpose / bargain shopper.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that at least a little tiny bit. Thank you so much for listening, checking us out, tuning back in each week for our shenanigans.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me.
Yes, thank you to Mom. Hashtag Stanford Threads, hashtag Sherry0415, hashtag, or not hashtag, at. Shout out Greg's mom. And be sure to rate this podcast on iTunes, Google Play, wherever you're listening to it. If there's somewhere you want to listen to this podcast and you can't find it, please shoot me a message. Let me know. I would love to get it wherever you need it. Be sure to subscribe so that you get notified whenever we have new episodes.
Yes, and all you listeners out there need to tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
And their friends' friends.
Tell your friends' friends.
So that Greg can have more people that listen.
Yeah.
And April.
Yeah.
Not just Greg.
Yeah. Thanks for the shout out. Actually, I just got a mention from Daddy-O EDC that he's listening to the latest podcast. And I'm going to say recording the next episode now. You'll hear me typing this when you listen to episode 9. Peace. Appreciate the support. Shout out anybody that shouts us out or shares or mentions it. I love it. I think it's awesome. And again, I started this with just an idea of like, I just want to do this. It's fun. I want to see if I can do it. And now there's people that are like, hey, where's the next episode? So it's awesome. Don't forget, we did start a giveaway. Oh my God, I feel so bad. We're going to run the giveaway another week, and I'm going to make another post, and I'm going to add something cooler to it. Because this is going on like a month now.
Yeah.
Of giveaways. You're entered into it.
Your mom didn't sign up the first time.
Okay, but here's the thing. Like, we were supposed to pick a winner right now.
Yeah.
We're supposed to pick a winner right now.
Yeah.
But I can't. You're entered, so I can't I can't have you pick because I'm not going to pick.
Yeah. You and April can do it because I would like to win still.
Next week, April and I will pick a winner.
That's why I didn't sign up the first time because I didn't know if I could be included.
And I will add something. So as of now, it's some Garrett Brothers Beard Co. oil and a beard comb, and not that you would need that, but Rudy.
No, but I can gift it.
And a bag of Everyday Carry EDC coffee.
Yeah, that's why I signed up.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And I can't wait if he gets the K-Cups out.
They're out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I'll have to check it
some.
out.
I'm trying to get the office to order some so that he's our sponsor of coffee at work.
Okay.
Anyways, thanks so much for listening. We will talk to you guys next week. Peace.
Maybe I'll be here next time. Who knows?
I'll get a third mic and it'll be me in April. All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night.